Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Death Card Tactics I'm going to be continuing my look into the Drukhari Codex, and I will be focusing on the Wracks and the Dark Technomancers obsession they have, and this very powerful combo that seems to be wrecking the game or wrecking the game. But let's get started. So today, the 3rd of May, so waiting for the Warhammer Fest reveals for Warhammer 40k. That will be quite exciting. And also, it's less than a week for my next 2000 point game on the Batrep channel Scudlinian, and I will be posting a pre-battle analysis and sharing with you my ideas for the list coming up soon in the channel. But today, as I said, I will be looking at the dangerous combo of Wracks equipped with Liquefier Guns. They are quite cheap troops that can pack a huge punch of damage. And in the Dallas Open, 5 out of the 10 armies in the top 10 were Drukhari, and this seems to be some sort of a record, so they are really strong in the meta. And the winner army had 3 of these rack squads equipped with Liquefier Guns, so I will be looking at the numbers and reviewing this combo and comparing it to Death Guard and other armies. So we will be looking at the stats and the combos of the racks. Then we will be looking at the damage potential versus the typical targets I'm simulating and comparing it to a Hall of Fame. Then I will be looking at what type of damage can the racks do to Death Guard units, and then how can Death Guard units do damage to the racks, and what can we do about this threat. And as before, I'm not an expert yet in Drukhari, so I would appreciate any feedback and suggestions for other combo synergies or rules I might have missed or misinterpreted. But with no further ado, let's get started and take a look. So, starting with the background, the racks are in the homunculus covens. So racks are the troop choice of the coven, one of the 3 subfactions of the Drukhari. At least this is how I understand it. So we have in the Drukhari there is 3 different subfactions: the cults, the cabals, and the covens. Each they have their own headquarter unit, each have their troops and elites, etc., and some are shared units. But we can see here that from the Coven, the HQ is the homunculus, or Urian Rakarth is a named character with a certain coven, and the troop choice here are the Wracks. In the Cabal we have the Kabbalite warriors, and in the cult we have a witches, and the succubus is also very strong currently with loads of melee attacks. But in the Coven here we have now the Racks, and the Raider transport that I already have reviewed. They can be either called Cabal or Coven, but it also looks like the transports, even if you choose the Raider to be a Cabal or be part of a cult, and you get some obsessions that fit on the Raider, you can still transport racks, so you can make even better combinations here. The racks, like basically any Drukhari unit, benefit from the army-wide power from pain ability, and this is cumulative per round. So in essence, they will be having a 6+ inval save from the get-go, and they will have a 5+ inval save from turn 4 and onwards. They can advance and charge from turn 2, and they will get +1 to their hit in melee from turn 3. So it's really good for melee units. It's good for the durability, and advancing and charging helps. And of course, they can also auto pass their morals in from turn 5 and onwards. So the baseline stats and the weapons for the racks. So the racks are costing 8 points base. Their leader, the champion or sergeant, the Acothist, and then we can have up to from 5, let's say from 5 in the unit up to 20, and they are only costing 8 points each. They have a 7-inch move, 3+ weapon skill and ballistic skill, strength 3. They have toughness 4, which is higher than typical Drukhari and Eldari units. Only 1 wound, 2 attacks base, and the Acothist gets 3, 8 leadership for the leader, and just a 6+ save. And they are quite cheap troops with a toughness 4, unlike the other Drukhari troops. They also, on top of this, have the 5+ Finlo Pain and the Power from Pain army-wide ability. and they can get toughness 5 if they are close to their HQ's choice of the homunculus. He has an aura that even transforms the toughness to toughness 5, so suddenly they have a very very tough troop choice for 8 points. The weapons of interest, the base kit is rack blades, which have no extra cost. And this is just a melee weapon with the strength of the user, so only strength 3, but it basically doesn't matter, with AP -1 and damage 1. And the reason it doesn't matter is because it's a poison weapon, so it will always be wounding on 4 pluses, so the strength is basically, yeah, not super relevant. And the interesting weapon here, they have other weapon choices, but the interesting combo here is with the Liquefier gun. The Liquefier gun costs 10 points extra, so quite considerably comparing to the Wracks price. It's a 12-inch assault D6 weapon with strength 4, AP -2, and damage 1. And it's an auto-hit flamer type weapon. And immediately it doesn't seem very dangerous. 1 in 5 models can equip with a Liquefier gun, and additionally the Acothist can take a Liquefier gun. So for a max number of liquefiers per squad, a squad of 5 can have 2 liquefier guns, and this unit only costs 60 points. So you have 40 points for the rack and the Acothist, and then 20 points extra for the liquefier guns. So why is this weapon dangerous? Because it has a very good combo with the Dark Technomancers obsession. So the Coven can select an obsession for the detachment, and if you make a custom one, then you can select the Dark Technomancers, and this is a interesting boost to weapons, for shooting weapons. And it kind of has a very big loophole for auto-hit weapons that are the Liquefier guns. So this says that each time a unit is selected to shoot, you can choose to enhance any of the ranged weapons. If you do so, each time they do the attack, you add 1 to the attack's wound roll, and you add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. So you get +1 to wound and damage 2 instead of the damage 1. So this is really good. And normally this Dark Technomancers, because this is quite strong ability, it has some negative effects. So for example, you are not allowed to reroll the hit roll. And if you score unmodified hit rolls of 1, which you cannot reroll, you will suffer mortal wounds. But with a Liquefier gun, which is an auto hit, there is no risk to hit once. There is no point in rerolls. So basically, the Liquefier guns, they just ignore any negative effect from the Dark Technomancers, and they just benefit from the +1 to wound and the damage increasing to 2. So the enhancing the Liquefier guns turns them to strength 4, AP -2, and damage 2 with +1 to wound. And since they are auto-hitting, they do not suffer any negative impact. And even if the Liquefier gun only has a 12-inch range, the racks will typically be transported by the raider ships, and they are open-topped, which allows the racks to shoot from inside, and therefore with a very high mobility of the raider, their threat range is really high. The raider can move 14 inches. It could also advance because this is an assault weapon and you don't get any negative to hit with an auto hit weapon. So you could potentially, moving the raider 14-inch, you have the 12-inch range plus an advance roll of d6. You are looking at the more than 26-inch threat range with these squads inside the raiders. So now let's look at the damage that the 5 racks can do with the 2 Liquefier guns, not point corrected here. So we see with the blue line, we see if we don't have the Dark Technomancers, we can do a couple of wounds across various targets. So 1-2 wounds against this bit better type of units here, and more chaff infantry, maybe a little bit more wounds. But we can see that if we combine it with the Dark Technomancers, we get more than double. We get a very big increase in the damage we are doing. So we can be doing 3, 4, 5 wounds with this 60-point squad against a very high number of targets. So yeah, typically here you see a bunch of 31 targets I'm typically simulating against. So here we have the targets with good inval saves. Here we have 4+ inval save targets like Space Marine captains with shields. Here we have 5+ inval saves. Here we have the units with no inval saves. For example, here we have intercessors with toughness 4 and a 3+ armor save. So it's really the racks with liquefier guns can do a lot of damage, especially for 2-wound troops. So as we can see here, the shooting damage output is greatly enhanced by the Dark Technomancers, double damage and +1 to wound. Basically, this means that they would be wounding toughness 3 targets on 2+, toughness 4 targets on 3+, and everything from toughness 5 to toughness 7 on 4+. So even, for example, Death Guard units will be wounded on 4+ with this Liquefier gun. So this is let's say, a very strong anti-marine weapon, and I also have plotted here the melee damage they can do with the rack blades. The rack blades being a poisoned weapon, so they basically always wound on a 4+, and you can see that they are not doing as much damage in melee as they can do with Dark Technomancer Liquefier guns, but still they can do something in melee. So here I'm comparing their damage output to a Hall of Fame units have been analyzed so far from 12-inch shooting range and no other buffs considered. So here is the average damage point corrected per 100 points of the unit shooting across all the targets. So basically all the average damage across all targets is giving an average here, and we can see that the 5 racks that have 2 liquefier guns for 60 points with the Dark Technomancers are doing 7 wounds on average per 100 points. So basically they are topping the chart. They are doing more damage per point than, for example, 3 Eradicators at half range, and even the Foul Blightspawn, which is our best short-ranged unit, point effectively at least, they are way above this with the Dark Technomancers across all targets. Only the Foul Blightspawn with the Vomitrix relic can do more damage per points, and then you are using basically a relic here. So if you don't have the Dark Technomancers, they have quite a still good damage output, but nothing as crazy as when they have the Dark Technomancers. So really a very strong combo, and brings the rack as the top damage dealer per point. Thankfully for Death Guard, we are not as threatened by the damage to Liquefier, the enhanced weapon, as the Marines and other units are, because we have disgusting resilience. So if we look at the racks and what damage they can do towards the Death Guard units, and this is not point corrected. So as I said, the enhanced Liquefier gun is not a big of a threat to Death Guard as it is to other armies due to our disgusting resilience, bringing -1 to the incoming damage. So even the enhanced Liquefier guns, they will still be damage 1 effectively for our units. Of course, units in the Death Guard army that are lacking disgusting resilience are more exposed, like the Rhino or Poxwalkers, Cultists, Defiler and Chaos Spawn, but mainly it is basically the Rhino and the Defiler and the Chaos Spawn that would be suffering the most here. And here you can see with the Liquifier gun, 2d6 shots, the amount of wounds expected towards the different Death Guard units. And here with the enhanced, with basically the Dark Technomancer, you see they can be doing many more wounds. So for example, the Chaos Rhino would only take 1.5 wound if they didn't have Dark Technomancy, but it takes around 5 wounds from the small squad. If they have the Dark Technomancers. Chaos Spawn are also a bit exposed, but we can upgrade those with a stratagem to give them a disgusting resilience. And of course, Poxwalkers and Cultists are a bit threatened by this weapon. A unit of Plague Marines would only lose 1 Plague Marine. Our Terminators are quite safe. Maybe 1 Terminator should be damaged on average from this. So not a huge threat to most of our units, but some units are more exposed than others. In melee, they can also do some quite okay damage. They are, because of the poisoned blades, they they can still wound us on 4+, and from turn 3 they are also 2+ to hit. So here they can do some damage, especially for poxwalkers and cultists, chaos spawn, but not super much melee damage to our units across the board. So so now we can see what can Death Guard units do, how much damage can we do versus the Wracks. They will have a 6+ save, 6+ invul save, and 5+ feel no pain. So here we can see our characters and vehicles, the damage they can be doing in long range shooting, short range shooting, and melee. If they have 2 profiles, we can see here the damage with a strong profile, a cleave, and then the scything profile. So for example, Typhus fighting the Wracks, he should use the scything profile. They don't have a very good save and they are only 1 wound, so it's better to use multiple attacks. He would be able to do 5 wounds on average, killing a group of 5. For example, Mortarion could wipe out a big squad, of course, in melee, but it's a lot of point cost to put on taking out a 60-point unit, let's say. And then the Contemptors are quite interesting. The twin Volkites can do a lot of damage from shooting. The AP0 doesn't suffer so much against the Wracks. They don't have a very good armor save, and also additional mortal wounds, and then a higher number of shots can do it quite cost effectively here. If we look at our troops choices in different infantry squads, etc. We can't do super high damage effectively from shooting, but in melee a lot of our units can take Wracks out. But other than that, the Wracks are quite durable with their invul save and the feel no pain. On top of this, they could get toughness 5, further improving their durability. Also from turn 4, they will be having 5+ invul saves. But maybe the most difficult part, because it will be that on top of all of this, they will probably be embarked on raiders that first need to be blasted away. So it needs a concerted and concentrated effort to take down the Drukhari. So first we need some anti-vehicle, and you can see also in my raiders video what type of damage is needed, how many shots are needed to open up the raiders, and then we need to shoot the exposed Wracks, for example, with Contemptors, or troops chipping away or coming into melee if we can come close with Plague Marines and Death Shroud and taking the Wracks out before they can do damage to our units. So, some summary and final thoughts. So the Drukhari Wracks are a cheap Drukhari troop choice that can become very dangerous with the Liquefier Guns and the Dark Technomancer obsession. 5 Wracks can carry 2 guns for 60 points, and they can do very high overall damage per point versus the normal targets I'm simulating, topping the charts, and a very potent anti-marine unit with a damage 2 weapons, auto-hitting, +1 to wound. They are durable for their points, having toughness 4, 6+ invul save, and 5+ feel no pain abilities. They will most probably be embarked on raiders, able to shoot with a high threat range. The raider can move 14 inches. The Wracks can shoot from within and be protected. And you could have 2 units of 5 Wracks with 4 Liquefier Guns inside a raider. You would have a 200-point unit that has a potent threat. You have the dark lances of the raider. You have the shooting. They can come out and do melee, and it's difficult to get to the Wracks until you shoot open the raider. As far as the Wracks being a big threat to Death Guard, luckily the extra damage from Technomancer Obsession is not a big threat for our units that have disgusting resilience. But in order to address them, we need to shoot down or take the raiders out in melee. We have to open them up, and then we should have our infantry units or other units taking the Wracks out in melee or shooting them, for example, with Contempt or with Volkites. The issue probably will be that of speed. as the raiders, inside the raiders, they can fly away from us, and it's difficult to tie them down. So I guess some long range shooting on the raiders, opening it up and then taking out the insides will be needed. So this completes the video. What do you think about the Drukhari Wracks and the Dark Technomancer combo? Have you faced any Drukhari yet on the tabletops? Please leave some comments below. If you're a Drukhari player, what do you think about this unit and the combo, and together with the raiders? If you leave some comments, and if you have some suggestions or if some other rules I have missed. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to the channel, where I will be bringing you more death card content and also Warhammer mathhammer analysis of other units like this one. If you want to support my efforts further, please visit my Patreon page. And with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.